This government has already signed the Global Compact on migration without a mandate from the people. We weren't asked. How many of you know about the Global Compact for migration? How many? Hardly anybody outside there. She and her turncoat, Deputy Prime Minister Winston Peters, have already signed the compact just before the Christmas shutdown, so we wouldn't notice. Traitors! By signing this UN compact, this government have signed away the control of New Zealand's borders to the corrupt United Nations. Migration will become a human right, and sovereign nations will have no say who comes into their countries.
They ask for war, brother.
The third world will be flooded into this country, and you all there, the taxpayers will have to pay for it. We already have poverty in New Zealand, people living in the streets and begging for food. We should be helping them before we invite the rest of the world's dirt poor into this country. With only 5 million people, it wouldn't take long before we're broke by an ever-expanding welfare system, higher taxes, the drive down of wages, crime, alien cultures unwilling to integrate, enclaves in our towns and cities, demands for special treatment because they are oppressed. This government will cave into the new migrants' demands and make laws where we can't even criticise it.
And it's not by accident, they are traitors.
The naivety of this government is palpable. Europe and its people are being replaced via mass migration. The EU and the United Nations are pushing this agenda to destroy the nation states of Europe and the rest of the world via mass migration. What's happening in France now is a reaction to this. The protests in France are a window of what's coming to the rest of the free world. The European Union vision was supposed to end wars in Europe, but it looks like it's going to start the next war in Europe. Yeah. How can this government not see this? Why won't they see this? How can they be so blind as to not see the truth before them?
They see it.
All they seem to care about is virtue signalling. Virtue signalling is like a cancer in our leaders, hell-bent on the optics of being nice. Any criticism or common sense alternative viewpoint like ours is quickly branded as far-right, alt-right, racist or scaremongering by this government and its fawning mainstream media. All they are doing is following the playbook of the mainstream media in Europe and North America to shut down dissent. This government is a globalist government. They believe in open societies, open borders, a borderless world where people can move freely around the globe. By definition, they don't believe in the nation state. They don't believe in democracy. They don't believe in their own people to make the right choice. Because this government is a Marxist, socialist, utopian, globalist government, it knows that importing the third world will keep them in power. Migrants that rely on the government for welfare will vote for that government and keep the socialists in power in New Zealand and the rest of the Western world. Bringing in skilled workers from other Western nations will most likely vote for a more conservative, smaller government than a socialist government that we've got now. The last election in this country, Labour lost to National. Not having enough to govern, National needed Winston Peters as a kingmaker. Winston Peters stabbed his own supporters, including myself, in the back and went over to bring in this social justice warrior to the Prime Ministership of New Zealand. Winston Peters has a lot to answer for to the people of this country.
Hang him!
Hang up! Public right, hang up!
Remember, the media will paint us here, all us here, as far-right, xenophobes, Islamophobes, on behalf of this government. But we have a stake in this country. We have skin in the game. But we have a stake. We don't want to see it destroyed just because our PM, Jacinda, wants to be nice and fluffy. If you have kids or grandchildren, or you're planning on having children in the future, then you better start getting informed as to what this government and governments in all Western nations are doing to their countries. I love this country, New Zealand. I've been here for 17 years.
Welcome, brother.
And God bless New Zealand, and God bless Britain and Europe.
Welcome, brother.